Very pleased to be able to testify about the importance of a high school education. I was in Nashville this past weekend to see my son get his MBA from Vanderbilt. Hallelujah. Our economy is still struggling, but after interacting with the graduates, you get the sense that things are going to turn around. And I think the most important reward out of investing in education is a hope for a better future for our country. And the first school I attended, Mr. Chairman, was a two-room country school with no running water or indoor plumbing. But I had two parents who encouraged me to continue my education, so education really wasn't an option in my house. I was fortunate enough and worked hard enough to graduate from college and medical school. Receiving my degrees allowed me to have a great life, so I never, ever forget to remind students the importance of education. They get tired of hearing me harp on it. And when I speak to them, I'll ask them, I said in high school the other day, I said, how would you like to make $250,000 in the next year? And they'll all raise their hand up. And I said, you can do that by just graduating from high school. Study. Think that's what you're throwing away. And when in front of a bunch of college freshmen who are thinking about having a party on the weekend, I say, you know how you can earn $1 million in the next 4 years? Graduate from college. That's all you have to do. And while there's a short-term cost, for these kids, investment long-term pays off, as we all know in this room, the rest of your life. In Tennessee, it's particularly important to remind our teenagers the financial impact that education can have on your life. And our high school graduation rate, 2004-2005, regrettably, was only 68%. And that was an improvement of 10% over the past 5 years, but still way below the national average. And we still have too many dropping out, some because of apathy, some because they just need to pay the bills and put food on the table. Having been a rather stubborn teenager myself, I know you can't convince everybody to stay in school. So while I'm sure we'll rightly focus attention on fostering excellence in our high schools, ensuring that fewer kids drop out, I also want to remind the committee not to forget about those people who've already dropped out, which is an astonishing number of people. I believe we should have adult education programs as effective and necessary to complement to the dropout problem. And I'm absolutely convinced that you have to offer adult education programs that encourage young adults who've already left the system to return to get their degrees. And as I said the other day, we have a no child left behind. We should have a no adult left behind also. Last week, the Subcommittee on Higher Education, Lifelong Learning and Competitiveness heard testimony from country music star Gretchen Wilson about her experience with adult education. Ms. Wilson went back to school and received her GED at age 34 for both herself and to set an example for her beautiful child, Grace, who is here. Her reasons for going back and her experience in the program speak to the incredible importance they serve in our overall education policy. Programs like those offered to Ms. Wilson help us reach out to kids and adults who slip through the cracks and offer them an opportunity to move forward not only with their education but their careers. Even better, these programs are one of the most cost-effective solutions I know of. In Tennessee, 14,600 individuals earned their GED in a year at a cost of only $275 per student that made this happen. This resulted in over $134 million in additional taxable income to the state because each individual made more than $9,000 more a year just with that GED. Changed their life. By supporting the adult education programs in conjunction with improving our high schools, I think we'll find that our education system has far more successes than we give it credit for and can have a much broader reach on impacting our next generation. Similarly, I think there's been a decline in career education. I would encourage the committee to take a look at the role that the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technology Education Program plays in reducing the dropout rate. Some students are at high risk of not finishing school because they don't think that school has any relevance for them. They want a job and a paycheck right away. A career-focused education can help them achieve this goal and make sure they get their high school diploma. The programs offered through this act allow kids who may have disengaged from regular high school programs to remain engaged throughout their focused programs. Finally, I would like to note that as a former mayor, I've seen firsthand federal programs work best when decision-making authority is left in local official hands. Typically, they are most qualified to fix problems that arise in their jurisdiction because they know the circumstances surrounding the problems. So as the committee examines on how to improve high schools, I hope we consider allowing true local flexibility rather than imposing broad federal mandates on our high schools. I think this topic is particularly timely with our present economic situation. Only with an educated workforce will we be able to compete in an increasingly global marketplace. And I thank the committee for holding this hearing and allowing me to testify. I yield back.